بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الخلق أجمعين محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
The subject of fiqh, and we discussed inshallah today Taqleed, or following a Mujtahid. It is the first chapter in fiqh studied, and it's good to know an introduction about Taqleed before we go to the issues of the marja or the fatwa of the marja about Taqleed. Taqleed is from the word, Arabic word qallada. Qallada literally has two meanings, because it is good to know the literal meaning of Taqleed so that we understand its meaning in fiqh, in jurisprudence. One of the literal meanings of Taqleed is to put on the neck, like a necklace you put on the neck, or like a badge of honor you put on the neck. That is called qallada, means he has put on his neck. According to this meaning, when we follow a Mujtahid, actually we are putting our deeds and our practices on his neck, like you say on his shoulder, because he is responsible in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is a Mujtahid and he told us this is right, that is wrong. So we followed, and we are putting our a'mal on his shoulder, on his neck, because he is a Mujtahid, the specialized one. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the day of judgment, if he asks us why you practice in this way, I say because this Mujtahid told me this way. So here, one of the meaning, as we said, is to put on the neck. The second one of Taqleed, qallada, means to follow or to imitate. When you follow somebody, say qalladahu, he did the same as that person is doing. So that is another literal meaning of Taqleed. According to this meaning, actually we are putting our steps in the same footsteps of the marja. Whatever marja will say, we will follow accordingly, because he is specialized, we are not, and we are following him step by step. So this is the literal meaning of Taqleed. We come to meaning of Taqleed as a term. Actually it means following of the non-specialized person to the specialized person. Means following of the Mujtahid by the public. Taqleed, we follow a Mujtahid, means we are not specialized in subject of Islamic jurisprudence. So the only way is to follow those who are specialized. That is Taqleed. We are not talking on the language, we are talking specifically on Islamic jurisprudence. So Taqleed in Islamic jurisprudence, that every adult human being with certain conditions, it will come details, has either he is specialized, so he is a Mujtahid, or then he has to follow the Mujtahid. So that is, as a term, means following the Mujtahid, the specialized people. There is another definition that is more definition in Islamic jurisprudence, in fiqh. When we read the Risala of the Marja, the books of verdicts, of fatwa of the Marja, you see they give either one of these two definitions. And these two definitions are very important to know them, because there are other issues which will depend on them, you know. The first definition, they said, it is decision to bind oneself to follow a known Mujtahid. So Taqleed means what? Is it a practicing or only an intention? Which one? Here he says not to practice. only a decision, your intention. You have taken a clear decision, and that decision is binding to you. You bound yourself that you will follow this Mujtahid because it was proved for you that he is the senior most, and it is your religious duty to follow the senior most Mujtahid. So from today you decided to follow this Mujtahid. When you have decided and you bind yourself to follow him, it means you are doing Taqleed of him. You have started the process of Taqleed. Though you may not have practiced any single issue according to this Mujtahid. No practice, not yet. You have not started to pray according to his fatwa, or to fast according to his fatwa, or to perform your wudu and taharat and najasat, other issues according to his fatwa. No. But the only thing you have decided yourself, it is binding to you, that you are following this Mujtahid. So this is sufficient to say that you have done Taqleed. Now, according to other ulama, they said, no, Taqleed is to practice according to fatwa, to verdict of a Mujtahid. So it is the process of practicing. If you took the, let us say, the book of fatwa of the Mujtahid, and you practiced your wudu according to what he says, means you have done Taqleed of him. If your prayer was according to his fatwa, means you have done his Taqleed on prayer only. If Ramadan month comes and your fasting was according to his verdict, then you did Taqleed of him and fasting. But let us say in issues like Hajj, for example, because you have not gone for Hajj, you have not done his Taqleed, because you have not practiced yet. According to the first definition, that it is only a decision from your side to follow, then when you decided, you did Taqleed of him in all issues, from the first to the last. All the 4,000-5,000 issues, you have done Taqleed when you decide to bind yourself to his fatwa. But according to second definition, it is the practice according to the fatwa of the Mujtahid. Now, whatever issue you practice, then you have done Taqleed. Whatever issue you have not practiced, because you don't need it, or it is not the time, for whatever reason, you have not done Taqleed of that. Of course, this is important for another issue. If your marja' dies, and you do Taqleed of another living marja', and then he said, you can remain on Taqleed of the dead on what conditions? What you have practiced, what you have not practiced, what Taqleed has done or was not done. There, its importance will come. Importance of this definition will come. Of course, we are going to discuss it, inshallah, when we read the Risala. But today, just we point out to it as a definition, So it is important to know that in fiqh, there are two main definitions for Taqleed. One is the decision to bind yourself to follow a Mujtahid. The second one is to practice according to the verdict of a Mujtahid. These are usually two main definitions. Now we come to another point that nowadays is raised a lot. Of course, we might not need to discuss it, but because nowadays there is a query and doubt about it, you see many people say, why should we do Taqleed, and what is necessity of Taqleed, and for what is Taqleed, and so on and so forth. So it is useful to mention the ayahs or the traditions of the Prophet and Ahlul Bayt Salamullah alayhim, which point out to Taqleed. The Holy Quran says, بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وما كان المؤمنون لينفروا كافة فلولا نفر من كل فرقة منهم طائفة ليتفقهوا في الدين ولينذروا قومهم إذا رجعوا إليهم لعلهم يحذرون. It is in chapter number 9, ayah 122. The translation: and it does not beseem the believers that they should go forth all together. Why should not then a company from every party from among them go forth, that they may apply themselves to obtain understanding in religion, and that they may warn their people when they come back to them, that they may be cautious. In short, the meaning of the ayah, that the Muslims, all of them, are not supposed to go for nafar. Nafar means going for jihad, to fight the enemies. So not all of the Muslims should go to jihad, but some of them, let us say, are exempted from military service. Those who study religious subjects are actually, according to this ayah, exempted from military service. Some will go for jihad, they are the soldiers in military service. Some will come to study لِيَتَفَقَّهُ فِي الدِّينِ, to understand religion or to study religion. And then here is very important point is mentioned: مِنْ كُلِّ فَرْقَةٍ مِّنْهُمْ طَائِفَةٍ, from every group of people, a few might come. Not all from one country. From every country, every group of people, if you may go study religion, and then they warn their people when they come back. Let us say from Canada they go to Hausa, from America will go to Hausa, from Brazil go to Hausa, from Africa, from Indonesia, from Turkey, Pakistan, India, Arab countries, from everywhere. A few people from every community may go to study religion, and then يتفقهوا في الدين, then وَلْيُنذِرُوا قَوْمَهُمْ إِذَا رَجَعُوا إِلَيْهِمْ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَحْذَرُونَ, and to warn their people when they go back to them, so that might be cautious not to disobey Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and not to fall in haram. Now, how this ayah is related to taqleed? This ayah actually says that some people may go for religious study and come back and warn the people. Now, is it obligatory for people to follow them, or no, the people may be careless about them? All this exercise that if you group from every country or every tribe, if you might go, they will not go for military service, they go for Islamic studies and come and warn the people. Now the people are not supposed to follow them or listen to them? Naturally not. The people are supposed to listen to them and follow them, because they will tell the people what is right, what is wrong, what is halal, what is haram. So actually the ayah is asking the people to study fiqh, and then when they warn their people, the people will follow them. It is like following, like taqleed. The second ayah in chapter 21, ayah number 7, and we did not send before you any but men to whom we sent revelation, so ask the followers of the reminder if you do not know. No is missing here in the writing. In kuntum la ta. The ayah is فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. أهل الذكر, dhikr, he said, he put it word to word translation here, reminder. Dhikr actually, Quran is called, إِنَّهُ لَذِكْرٌ Quran. So Quran, because Quran is a reminder, so one of the names of the Holy Quran is dhikr. So as the people of Quran or people of dhikr, means, let us say, basically the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then the 12 Imams alayhum salam, and then after the Imams are the ulama who are following the Imams and studying what the Holy Prophet and Imams, peace be upon them, has explained, and they are informing the people that these are the Islamic rules and regulations, and you may follow them. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, if you don't know, ask the people of dhikr to tell you. Naturally, when they tell you, that you will know and you will follow and you will practice. So that is there. There are some ayahs in the Holy Quran actually ask the people not to follow others. Not to follow others means in another, not to do taqleed of others. Like Quran is criticizing the people that when you ask them why they are not believer, they say we have followed our parents. And then Quran say, is it that even if their parents do not know? How you follow your parents if they don't know? And many ayahs like that, the Quran actually negate the people to follow others, Actually here is the blind following, and it is following about aqeedah, about the principles of faith, not following about jurisprudence. Because those people who are not believing in God, they used to tell their children that, okay, you don't believe in God, you believe in idol, we are idolater, and we have to worship these idols. Well, the Prophet said that there is God, there is no God. So on the principles of faith, we are not allowed to do taqleed. We have to prove the principles of faith for ourselves by a rational understanding. We are not allowed to do taqleed. Why do you believe God is one? It's because my father told me. No, that is not the right way. You have to prove it yourself. You have to be convinced yourself that God is existing, God is one. The Prophet is the messenger of Almighty Allah for mankind. He is a real prophet, genuine prophet. So here, what in Quran might comes, and some might say that the Quran said you should not do taqleed. Actually, you should not do taqleed in principles of faith, in usul al-din. But in fiqh, of course, you have to follow someone who knows. If you don't know and you are not specialized, naturally you have to follow somebody who is a scholar and specialized in that subject. So that is about the Holy Quran in short. Of course, when you come to the hadith, in ahadith there are many hadith mentioned on this issue. One hadith is related to Imam Hassan al-Askari, say, من كان من الفقهاء صائنا لنفسه حافظا لدينه مخالفا لهواه مطيعا لأمر مولاه فللعوام أن يقلدوه. Anyone among the fuqaha, the jurists, the scholars, with these characters, صائنا لنفسه, protecting himself from doing anything wrong, anything haram, حافظا لدينه, preserving his religion means obedient and fulfilling all his religious duty. حافظا صائنا لنفسه, protecting himself, مخالفا لهواه, disobeying his selfish desires, مطيعا لأمر مولاه, obeying his master means Almighty God. فللعوامي, it is for the public, for the non-specialized, awam. The general people who are not specialized are called awam. And يقلدوه, to follow him. So here is the order to follow, but whom you should follow? First of all, the one with knowledge, من كان من الفقهاء. Second one is those who are, let us say, pious and just people. If he is corrupt, not pious, then you are not supposed to follow him. That is why there are four characters mentioned here, that he is preserving his religion, protecting himself from disobedience, and disobeying his selfish desire, obeying his Lord. All these characters are there, but in short, he is a just, pious and religious person, then you may follow him. So here there is mention to follow the fuqaha, and the word أن يقلدوا, to do taqleed. In another hadith related to Imam al-Mahdi Ajjallahu Ta'ala Farajah, it says, وَأَمَّا الْحَوَادِثُ الْوَاقِعَةِ فَارْجِعُوا فِيهَا إِلَى رُوَاةِ أَحَادِيثِنَا فَإِنَّهُمْ حُجَّتِي عَلَيْكُمْ وَأَنَا حُجَّةُ اللَّهِ. And for the events to come in the future, so you refer to the narrators of our traditions. Hear the word, narrator of our traditions. I made them a divine authority upon you, and I am a divine authority upon them. So the Imam himself is telling us to refer to those who are specialized in hadith, in Islamic subjects, because they narrate the traditions of the Imam and they know what is right, what is wrong, and how to understand these traditions in a proper way. In another word, they are a Mujtahid, and he made them as Hujjati alaykum. They are my authority. I have appointed them as an authority upon you, and I am authority of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon them because they are studying our ahadith of Ahlul Bayt salamullahi alayhim. So this is also there. There is more ahadith there. Actually, we can say Taqleed was existing even at time of the life of Imams alayhim salam. How? Because in those days, not everybody was able to reach Imam and ask him. Imam, for example, was in Medina, or maybe in Iraq, or in Iran, or in Samarra, for example. And the Muslim all over the world, they cannot reach him at any time and ask him. So what they used to do? They used to ask the scholars who are there, and they say, okay, what is the right fatwa? And they will say, okay, I hear from the Imam, or I have this hadith, that this is the fatwa on this issue. And some of them were appointed directly by the Imams. For example, in Qom, Zakaria ibn Adam was a well-known scholar, he is a very great alim. So they write from Qom to Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam in Medina, that we have many questions and we cannot reach you, so whom to ask? Then Imam referred them to, you ask Zakaria ibn Adam, because he is trustworthy, and you ask him. Or even in Medina itself, there are thousands of people, especially at time of Hajj. They cannot all come to the Imam and ask him. One person cannot reply questions of tens of thousands of people. So Imam alayhi salam was asking great scholars like Aban ibn Taghlib. He tells Aban, اجلس في المسجد وافت الناس فإني أحب أن يرى في شيعتي يثلب. You sit in the mosque and give fatwa, give verdict to the people. So the word afti الناس, fatwa. Because I love to see among my followers people, good people like you, and educated people like you. So even when the Imam is in Medina, but still there is a need for ulama to preach. So the people will not take the issue from the Imam directly. They take it from Aban ibn Taghlib, for example, from the companions of the Imams. Because companions, they said, okay, we hear the issue from the Imam and this is the verdict. More than that, even Imam was telling the people how to do the process of ijtihad. There are traditions said, نرمي عليكم الأصول وعليكم بالفروع. We tell you the principles, and then the divisions you have to understand it. I give you the general rules and regulations, and when you know the rule, you apply it on each issue. You don't need to tell me the rule on each individual issue. You know the general rule, and you say this rule will apply here and there and there and there and so on. There are general rules, and these general rules will be applied anywhere. For example, if somebody is not adult, for example, he is not responsible. Now you don't need to ask, my son is not adult, is he responsible to offer a prayer? You say no. Okay, what about fasting? No. What about Hajj? No. What about making a deal or a business or contract? No. You don't need all no. I gave you the general law. That for somebody who is not adult, not baligh, then there is no religious duty upon him. If somebody is, for example, unable, usr wal haraj, difficulty, I cannot do it, I am unable. Am I responsible? You say no, you are not responsible. Now I am unable where it applies. It might apply about prayer, about fast, about amr bil ma'ruf, about nahy anil munkar, about hajj, about any subject. So this is a general rule. If you are unable, then you are not to be questioned by God. God will ask you when you are able. If you are unable, God will not ask you, and there is no responsibility upon you. So you see, the Imams ﷺ used to explain these points to the people, so the people may get aware of it, and then they can give it to. So okay, if you cannot, then you are not to be questioned. You cannot what? You cannot fast. You are not to be questioned. You cannot go for Hajj. You are not questioned. You cannot perform amr bil ma'ruf and nahy anil munkar. You are not questioned, and so on, because you cannot, and so on. Many ahadith, give these general rules and regulations, and the ulama were supposed to know them, and then they apply them here. Ifti, give fatwa, not only relate what Imam has said. No, he himself understood it, and now he is applying it on different issues. So, Taqleed is not something strange. It is actually practiced. It was a practice at the time of the Imams, and we were asked by the Imams to follow the Mujtahids at the time of occultation of the 12th Imam. We are living at the time of occultation. We come to the last point here, the proof of Taqleed from by reason, through a rational discussion. Because some people said, well, rationally I cannot accept it, it doesn't come in my mind. Why should I follow others? Actually we say, rationally you have to do Taqleed. Because any sensible person, if he is not specialized in any science, he will not give an idea or obey his own ideas. He will ask the specialized people whether what I am doing is right or wrong. If you are not a medical doctor and you are sick, you will not say that I think I have to take this medicine or I think I have to take that medicine. No. So I am not specialized in medicine, so I go to the doctor and ask his opinion. So it is referring of non-specialized people to the specialized people. If you want to build your house, you won't say that I think the pillar has to be 10 centimeter or 20 centimeter or 30 centimeter. No, that is not your specialty. You have to ask the engineer to tell you what is the size of the pillars, what is the strength of the steel, and so on, the details to be there, and so on. Well, if you are not a mechanic and your car is out of order, even if you are a professor or a scholar in any field, but still you go to the specialized to repair your car. You can't say that because I am a well-known doctor or I am well-known engineer or I am well-known poet, for example, then I will follow my own view. So you cannot. You are not specialized. You give it to a mechanic who is specialized. He will repair your car for you. So you see, it is a general feeling and general understanding that everybody feels that if I am not specialized, I have to refer to the specialized people. Some of the ulama add to it, it is necessity, they call it shukr al-mun'im, to thank Almighty Allah for His grace. What does it mean? It means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us and He bestowed great favors to us, our life, our living, our health, having proper eyes, ears, body, etc. All these are continuous grace of Almighty Allah to us. And naturally, aql, our reason, tells us that if somebody do such great favors to you, you have to thank him, you have to praise him, you have to obey what he says. Now Almighty Allah did such a great favor to me, I have to thank him, but how? In what way? There must be a special way. So what is that way? That way I come to the specialized people, I say, how Allah wants me to thank him or to obey him and to be an obedient servant for him? In what way? Did Allah explain that to me or not? So naturally Allah has explained that. And the scholars, they said, yes, this is the way to obey Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you have to worship him in these ways of worship. Not that you decide the way you like, but it is already decided by the Prophet and by the infallibles who tells you that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to do in this way. So one of the things that reason will decide that we have to thank the one who bestowed his favor to us, called Shukrul Mun'im. The second, again, rational law, he said, Daf'u al-dharar al-muhtamal, to protect yourself from possible harm. What does that mean? It means that if you do not obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there is possibility that you will be punished in the Day of Judgment, and there is possibility you will go to hellfire. That possibility is there or not? Literally, that possibility is there. Now, if that possibility is there, there is God, He created you, He sent prophets, and there is possibility that He asked you to obey Him, to worship Him in a special way. Now, should you know the way or no? You say, I don't care. You say, no, the wise people say, how you don't care? If there is such big risk, you will ruin your life here, and you will ruin your life in the hereafter. How you said, I don't care? This is not a wise decision. Now, if somebody tells you that don't go from this street because there is a danger, some terrorist people are there, they might kill you. Say, I don't care, and I go. If you go and they attack you, the people will blame you. You say, why you have gone? You were not supposed to go. They told you, and you know there is a possible risk there. So say, okay, I thought he may not hit me. I say, even if he may not hit me, but he may hit you as well. There's possibility. Okay, you are not sure 100% you will be hit by his bullet, for example. But there was possibility. If there is possibility, then you are not supposed to go. You are supposed to protect yourself. Say, دفع الضرر المحتمل. That is, to protect yourself from a possible danger or possible harm coming to you. So the reason, just rational discussion, he said the people feel it by nature, by the reason that you have to preserve yourself and protect yourself. Now, if you have to protect yourself, what should you do? You say, what I will do, I will ask the scholars that Almighty Allah has created me. Is He asking me to do anything or not? Am I created here to live in my own life and do nothing related to Him, or there are certain rules and regulations from Him I have to follow? If there are certain rules and regulations, then from where I will get them? I go to the Prophet, yes, that is good, but if the Prophet is existing at your time, in our time nowadays there is no Prophet existing. I go to the vicegerent of the Prophet, the Imams, yes, if the Imams are apparently available among the people, but now the living Imam is in occultation and we cannot see him, we cannot reach him. Then where to go? Naturally, we go to the specialized people who know the teachings of the Prophet and the Imams, and according to the Holy Quran, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed. So they know all that, they are specialized in that field, so I will go and ask them. So again, according to a rational belief, that we are supposed to protect ourselves from possible harm, and that harm might be in this world as well as in the hereafter, not only in the hereafter, because the Islamic teachings are useful for the human being in this world. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not asking me for nothing, to pray for nothing. If it was no benefit in prayer, then why he ask me? The benefit will go to him. Naturally, no. My prayer will not benefit Almighty God. Then who is going to get benefit of my prayer? I, myself. So it is something beneficial for me. And since it is beneficial for me, I have to know about it so that I will at least get a benefit and protect myself from any harm to happen. So that by itself will encourage us rationally to follow the scholars and know our religious duties, which is a process called process of Taqleed. I think up to here is sufficient to discuss, and then inshallah in the next lecture we'll go through the practical laws of the marja, to read the issues one by one and start explaining them. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wa sallallahu ala Muhammad wa alihi at-tahirin.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.